Hey guys, how you doing? This is Brandon from Journey Financial. You guys are listening to Allstar Talk Radio. Today I do have another exciting show for you guys. Actually, a little change of pace. We have a California state attorney on the phone, and he's going to give us a little bit of information about himself, about what he does, kind of some of the stuff that goes along actually in a real estate transaction, because as you know, I am a mortgage loan officer for a California residential property. And so some of the information that he has for us today is going to be very helpful, and I know by the time we're done, you're going to want to call this guy for any information or any help you guys will need. His name is Michael Ruttle, California State Attorney. Mike, how you doing?
I'm well. Thank you for having me on.
No problem. Glad to have you on today. So really, why don't you tell everyone a little bit about yourself and kind of your background?
Well, as you mentioned, I'm a California attorney licensed in the state of California. My practice is based in Southern California, primarily in the LA area. My office is located in Torrance, California, in the beautiful South Bay. A lot of my practice, I deal with a lot of situations involving, property disputes, real estate transactions, primarily in the residential sector. I've been involved in some commercial transactions, not so many. My primary focus is residential, and I deal with people on both sides of the deal. Buyers, sellers, sometimes tenants that aren't even parties to the transaction. There's a lot of nuances that go into real estate that I do, and I really enjoy it a lot. I get to deal with all kinds of people, realtors, lenders, brokers. It's a fun gig.
Awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, like I said, to have you on my show and actually to have you as a personal friend and a professional associate on my side has been a pleasure, and it's always useful. And that's why I definitely wanted to have you on today, because I know that people can easily use your profession and your knowledge to their advantage, especially in the field that I work in the context that I have. Actually, one of the best things that we could say is that you are fluent in Spanish. Is that correct?
Sí, señor.
Sí, señor, exactly.
Yeah, yes, I am. And
so the areas that I worked in a lot was Bellflower, Downey, Lakewood, Norwalk, so I know when I needed help, he was definitely the man I called, almost as a translator, and then if we ran into any bumps in the road, he was there for the legal side of things, so it was awesome. So for yourself, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, it comes in handy. A lot of times when there's a language barrier, people can feel intimidated, not just by the length of complex, convoluted documents with a lot of, terms in it, but it always makes a person feel more comfortable when they can speak in their own language with somebody who's acting in their best interest.
Right, 100%, I agree. So why did you become a lawyer, Mike? There's all kinds of professions. I know when I was younger, I went to Long Beach State for a short period of time, and I took business administration, and I eventually wanted to be like a Jerry Maguire, like an agent, sports agent, because I'm a 5'8" white guy, so MBA was out of my future there. But attorney, that's an awesome profession. Like I said, glad to have you as a professional associate on my side. Why did you decide to go that route?
Well, a lot of different reasons. I went to Long Beach State as well. It's where you and I met, and some of the classes I took there dealt a lot with social problems and trends, and there's a lot of things that I felt being in a position as a lawyer would it's a tool for social change, and helping out the little guy and making sure that justice is served, and there's a lot of injustice in our society, and I've witnessed that firsthand. And my dad is an attorney as well. He's a tax attorney, and I've seen the kind of reward he gets from helping out people out of tough situations, and the job satisfaction is very high, and so I wanted to be a part of that. I mean, it's definitely not easy to become an attorney in any state. There's a lot to go through, but I felt that at the end of the day, that being able to help out people out of tough situations would be worth it.
Good, good. That's I mean, I tell people the same thing. Even when I was a realtor or lender, you know, and it's cliche as it sounds, and you kind of said it yourself. And there's a reward in that. Like when we close a deal and we get a buyer their keys, there's a reward. There's a fuzzy feeling you get. I mean, obviously we all do our jobs for a paycheck, but at the end of the day, a lot of times, if you can do your profession for more than just the paycheck, it makes going to work that much better every day.
Yeah, you know, and there's many different ways to get it. I mean, when I first started practicing, a lot of my time, you know, the first job I had was suing slumlords, you know, in Long Beach, California. You know, people are living in these horrendous situations, you know, where they have rats running in their living room and cockroaches crawling on their face while they sleep, and the landlord's still demanding rent, you know. And so the law protects tenants in ways. So I spent a lot of my time when I first started practicing law doing that, and that in and of itself was very rewarding, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I believe me. I just, like I said, it sounds cliche, but it's there. It really is. So.
Yeah.
Now, for some of the realtors, because I guess I could say that is a lot of kind of the base that I'm sure listens to this show are realtors and agents and loan officers, people in this industry. Give them an idea, a little bit of a role from an attorney in a real estate transaction. I mean, obviously it's very broad, but to have one on your side, like I keep saying, is very powerful. What is a good role a real estate agent can really utilize your profession in with these types of transactions that they go through day to day?
Well, I mean, as you said, it's very broad, you know, because there's many stages of the real estate transaction, you know, and a lawyer can get involved at any point. You know, I've been involved at the beginning, in the middle, and at the end, and depending on when I get involved, you know, my role changes. But one thing that never changes is, you know, any attorney, their number one goal is to act in the best interests of the client. And
right.
Depending on who the lawyer represents, those interests may change. You know, for example, whether I'm representing a buyer or the seller, you know, because you have to act in the best interest of your client. You know, but obviously a lawyer cannot act unethically, but, you know, a lot lawyers don't exactly have a popular reputation in society. You know, a lot of people hate lawyers, but, you know, a lot of professionals will say that if a lawyer is hated that by somebody, that means he's doing something right. You know, you have to act in the best interest of your client. Sometimes in real estate transactions, you know, you can represent both the buyer and the seller, but it's you know, that can potentially create conflicts when you have these types of dual representations. For example, you know, representing the borrower and, you know, kind of having communications with the lender. You know, a lot of times the buyer will engage a lawyer, but, you know, but a lawyer will also be working with a realtor, you know. And so, like, I've been involved in situations where, you know, a buyer will approach me and on a situation, but they'll also have a realtor, you know, and there's a little bit of overlap. There's certain things that a realtor, you know, can and can't do that a lawyer can help them out with when it comes to legal things. And, you know, so always working out with a good realtor is can make my job easier, you know. The primary function, regardless of what stage you're in, you know, the lawyer's main job is to identify risk, you know. You identify risk, you reduce the risk, and then you try to shift the risk and structure the transaction to benefit your client, while at the same time achieving your client's objective, both legal and economic. You want to make sure that your client's getting a fair deal, and, you know, you want to make sure that your client's not getting swindled and not getting the short end of the deal. And whether that means, you know, drafting a contract in a more favorable way for your client, or whether that means, you know, communicating with the seller or negotiating on your client's behalf. You know, there's a wide range of things.
Right, and I think what I'm taking from that, a little bit, excuse me, I didn't mean to cut you off there, but I think really, and you kind of just opened my eyes there, is that you just made the stress out of the realtor's life or the buyer's life. You were there to set up a smoother transaction. Now, obviously, as realtors and lenders, we try to make a transaction as smooth as possible, but it's very hard in this business because of, like you said, the shifting the risk of one side or the other. And what you did really say did just open my eyes as well, is a lawyer or an attorney is there from the beginning, middle, or to the end, or they can be utilized. And I think that's something people really need to open their eyes, is that call you in the beginning. Get someone like you on their side from the get-go, because, yes, a deal might go smooth and there might be no hiccups in a deal, and those are great. But those are very far and few between. So to call a Mike Ruttle as soon as possible and get him as a contact, get him as a professional associate on their, I guess I could say, in their pocket or in their arsenal, ready for any transaction that has any sort of risk, and to be able to have you right away is very crucial and can be very beneficial at the same time. So I think you just brought up some very good points that even I didn't think about so much, and been doing this for quite some time myself. So, really, besides that, I mean, go ahead.
No, you just brought up a good point, in that how, you want to have having a good lawyer is, someone acting in your best interest can only benefit you, down the road. I mean, but it depends. Every lawyer is different. Some lawyers are purely transactional, where they try to build a bridge and negotiate and meet in the middle, whereas other lawyers practice only litigation, the point where the deal's falling apart and people start suing each other, and getting lawyers involved. And that can be, very contentious and very adversarial, and that can create a lot more stress for the client. One thing I try to do always is, reduce the risk of, litigation down the road, because it's costly, it's expensive, it's very time consuming, and it's very, very stressful for everybody.
Right, and taking the stress out of life is definitely what we need, especially in this day and age, this economy, and who knows what. But like I said, wow, I mean,
buying a house is stressful enough,
It is. Just first-time homebuyers are very, very nerve-wracking, but I love to help them, and they love, once they get the keys, they love everyone. But then in the beginning of the deal, they could be very finger-pointing or this and that, and it's because they don't have the top-level professionals working for them on their side. And that's why they need to call yourself and myself to help them out, walk them through the process. And what you were talking about earlier also, and having a lawyer at their side, I think one of the biggest reasons why someone would need that would be on high-priced homes, because those are very, very big transactions, and those types of people are too happy, from what I've seen a lot in different days. But it's very crucial to have a professional attorney at their side, I can see, in these real estate transactions.
Absolutely. I mean, in California, it's not required by law to hire an attorney for real estate transactions. Some states do require it, but, I mean, a lot of times people will call and simply want a consultation, and, lawyers often get hired simply to draft, interpret, modify, or just basically review a transaction. People will come into an office and say, hey, this is the contract I'm entering into to buy this house. Does this look fair to me, And you might, you might say, yeah, it looks fair, and then that's the last time you hear from that client. Other times they want more hands-on approach, so it varies case by case.
Exactly. And like NFL players and hockey players and basketball players, they're not going to read no contract. They want to hire Mike Ruttle and read it for them.
and
so,
hey,
Mike,
Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
I was just going to tell them, if you are an NBA player or an NHL star and you are listening to the show, I was going to say, hey, Mike, tell them how to get a hold of yourself.
Well, you can reach me at my office. I work for a law firm called Otten & Joyce, and my office is located in Torrance, and the number of my office is 310-378-8533. Anytime people want to get in touch with a lawyer, you can always check a lawyer by searching the state bar website. Every lawyer is required to register with the state bar in every state that they're licensed. So California, it would be calbar.org to find. You can find people who specialize in various types of law, whether it be real estate, criminal, bankruptcy, what have you. So there's a lot of resources available to find a highly qualified attorney.
Perfect. Yeah, and I'd say, like I said, he's got his website, he's got his email, his phone. You can always contact him. If anything, you can always contact me. I will send you his way. And you can also connect with me on Facebook, and he's a friend of mine on Facebook as well. He has his own. So if you ever want to find out a little bit more about him and what he's working on or what he's doing on a day-to-day, you can connect with him. My Facebook is facebook.com// Brandon.Charlin. Also, you can find me or himself on LinkedIn, Twitter, and all those good sites that we're constantly promoting our business on because we want to connect with you. And if you have questions, feel free to ask us on those websites. And again, feel free to give him a call, give myself a call. If you guys need any information about getting loans or pre-qualified, or if you are having trouble with a particular real estate transaction, Mike Ruttle is the man. So, Mike, I appreciate having you on this show today on All-Star Talk Radio, and I hope the rest of your day goes well.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
All right, Mike. Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.